Hello and welcome back to this Successful Hypnotherapy Masterclass. This is an extra session to help you get started so you know how to take the very next step. Now, there are an incredible amount of opportunities available to you as we've been learning, but it really comes down to two things actually. A, do you have a genuine desire to help people, a genuine desire to make a difference? And B, are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to make the effort to make things happen for you? Because if you've got those two things, we can give you everything else you need. I want to go through that today to show you how that all works and exactly what the next steps are for you to take if you're looking to create like a full or part-time income, or whether just for personal interest or expand your existing skills. But for now, let's move on and show you exactly what you need to take this from a theoretical idea into an actual practical thing you can begin to make happen and put to work for you. So 3 things that you actually need when you do any kind of training to tick a few boxes on the admin side of it, should we say. That's without the content. Let's go through the admin side first of all. First of all, you need to acquire some kind of certification, all right? Some kind of certificate on your wall to say you're qualified in this in some way or other. Now, this is actually for one type of client and not all clients. When somebody knows you and somebody comes to you by referral, they tend not to care too much about certificates and all that kind of stuff. If you've helped someone they know, they're keen to just come and see you for help. But if someone doesn't know you, let's say they're a first-time person looking at your website or finding out about you somewhere and they want to check you out, one of the first things they're going to do is check out to see, are you qualified in some way? Do you have a proper certificate in some way? So we need to make sure you have a proper certification. The second thing you need is insurance to be able to do the next bit, which is to have membership of an accredited organization. Now, these things go hand in hand because you can't get insurance unless you've got a certificate from an approved training course. And so you need the certificate to get the insurance, and the certificate of insurance will get you membership of an accredited organization. Now, earlier in the course, I kind of implied these things don't matter too much because they won't get you clients. These things do matter greatly because people will be looking to make sure that you are a member of a protected body, an organized body. So whilst I said that you cannot rely on these organizations to send clients to you, you do need to be accredited in a way with one of these organizations so that someone who's looking to trust you with their services and trust you with their problems knows A, you're qualified, B, you're insured, and C, you belong to some kind of organization. All right? So those are the 3 kind of admin kind of things we need to take care of. Most training schools, most of the better training schools will provide that of one degree or other. Some of the lesser training schools, the one that do like 1-day workshops or 2 days or 10 days here and there, they can't possibly fulfill that, or they'll do it in a low-key way. So it looks as if they're ticking those boxes, but not quite. There are certain levels, certain standards of training that are agreed upon here in the UK that generally require about 120 hours of teaching time in order for you to be able to reach that maximum accreditation level. And I'll go through those in a moment. Now, the training formats we offer, how we deliver the information here, really depends on your situation and what you're looking for. Some people prefer an in-person classroom-based experience. Others are much more comfortable with the whole online and Zoom type training. And we've been experienced in the online training for many, many years now, way back in 2013, 2014. That's when I first started doing online training. I actually got an awful lot of grief from people for even suggesting that you could do therapy online and run training courses online. You know, I got trolled, I got criticized so badly for that, and I got really ousted in a way by some of the larger organizations at the time for daring to even think we could do that. 2 years of pandemic later and nobody questions it. But we have been through the learning process of online training. Many schools now are still trying to catch up with that. But we've been learning and doing this for many, many years. So we have an excellent online training facility, whether that's for a self-study version or joining one of our live online classes where our teachers and trainers will take you through the whole material live online as if you're in a classroom. And we also do have our beautiful venue here, what we call the Oast venue, which is a stunning venue in a stunning location deep in the heart of the East Sussex countryside. And people love coming here. They tend to stay overnight nearby in one of the accommodation we recommend, and just enjoy getting away from life, getting away from the world, and joining us here in these classes. So the in-person course is another possibility for you. So we know there are incredible opportunities available to you for anyone who has the genuine desire to help and a genuine desire to put in the work required to do that. We know that what you need to get is an accredited certificate from a proper training school. we know that you need insurance, and we know that you need to become a member of an accredited organization, not to get clients, but to be part of a organizational body in some way that gives your prospective clients a sense of security, a sense of protection. And you also now know that there are a number of training formats available, whether in person or online, or maybe even a mixture of the two. What you need to know now is exactly what you're going to learn, the details, the nitty-gritty details in these courses, and more importantly, what that will then enable you to be able to do when you take it out into the world and set up maybe a practice in some way, either full-time or part-time, or just expanding your existing skills. So let's have a look at that now. Now, before we can think about therapeutic techniques and hypnosis techniques, we need to understand how problems come about in the first place. So one of the most essential things I take people through on all the training courses is models of the mind, so you can really understand how the mind actually works, why people have problems, what those problems really are, and also, in a way, how every single client will actually tell you what the answer is to their problem if you know where to look. So understanding those models of the mind is the very first thing we need to go through, and it's absolutely essential and vitally important. Once you know that, then we teach you how to induce hypnosis, and this is actually much simpler than what people think. Hypnosis is not this magical, mystical state that is sometimes shown in some places, not this controlling state that you sometimes see on stage shows. The therapeutic hypnosis we use is very, very natural. In fact, I prefer to call it natural hypnosis, because every single one of us has the ability to enter into this state of mind. Some people say, oh, you can't hypnotize me, I can't be hypnotized. And I say, yeah, you're right, but life most definitely can, and has done throughout your life already. Each one of us has been hypnotized by life when we've taken on board ideas that we haven't rejected in some way. We've just accepted them and then lived by them. Was it somebody who criticized us? Was it somebody who said something, made us angry? Whatever it is, there's things that people say and do that implant ideas in us that we then live by as if they're real, as if they're true. Okay, that's a form of hypnosis in a way. Life hypnotizes us, as I've explained in some of the previous videos. So what I need to do is help you, first of all, demystify hypnosis so it becomes a very, very natural process, and then show you how you can begin to create it or recreate it in a very natural way, sometimes just very conversationally, sometimes in a more formal way with someone a bit more relaxed and looking in the classic hypnosis posture with the eyes closed and looking deeply relaxed and all that kind of stuff. So learning how to induce hypnosis is the next stage we take you through. Once you begin to understand people's minds and you understand how you can actually begin to relax them into hypnosis, then we begin to introduce to the absolute basics of what most people teach in hypnotherapy. Now, it tends to have the grand name of clinical hypnosis, clinical hypnotherapy, which sounds very medical, it sounds very proper, it sounds very professional. Typically, most people doing clinical hypnosis is reading scripts to people. So on a clinical hypnosis course, you'll typically be given a book of scripts like this, and the basic course will probably just go through the scripts really. Each time you go on the training course, you practice reading the scripts to each other, practice having them read on yourself, practice on a few people, and that is essentially what you learn on a very basic clinical hypnotherapy course. It's really based around the idea of suggestion therapy and suggesting ideas to the client in hypnosis and hoping the client's mind accepts the idea. Now, I've tried that myself. I've used that many times, and it can be incredibly useful. Let me tell you a story to help you understand something. When my daughter was 18, her and a friend went to a nightclub, or they tried to go to a nightclub, but they got turned away at the door because my daughter was wearing trackies. They were quite nice ones. They said, no, not tonight, you can't come in that gear. So they walked away around the corner, and in the street, my daughter, she took off her tracksuit bottoms in the street, got her friend's jacket and wrapped her jacket around her waist and fashioned a kind of skirt out of it. They went back round to the club, and the security guy said, oh, you got changed, yeah, come on in, have a good night. And the same person who was rejected a few minutes earlier was now allowed in because she was packaged differently. And this is really important with the mind. Okay, if you just try and present ideas to someone's mind, either consciously or even subconsciously in hypnosis, if they're in a security system, if they're in a bouncer, should we say, says, no, you're not coming in, there will be no change occurring. Right? And many hypnotherapists do not understand this. They think that if they do a standard induction and a standard deepener, which are part of the hypnosis process, and they read a script to someone, that person will automatically benefit. Now, if the words being said to someone hit home and they make it into that club and can dance the night away, that person will experience some kind of change. It may not be lasting, but they will experience some kind of change. if their mind, if their security system, which we call the critical faculty, rejects those ideas, it just won't work. It'll be a nice idea, feels good at the time, but no deep and lasting change. So clinical hypnosis, clinical hypnotherapy can be incredibly effective as long as those ideas can get past that bouncer. And it's really important to understand how that works and when it works, and also when it doesn't work. A more advanced clinical hypnotherapy is about customizing these scripts. So instead of just having like a whole book of pre-written scripts, you can begin to make it more bespoke to the client and begin to tailor things to their wants and their needs. And that's a more advanced way of doing it. And some of the better clinical hypnotherapy courses will teach you how to do that. Now, we do that as the very beginning, the very basics of our training, because we use scripts because they're a great prop to start with, but pretty soon after the beginning of the course, within the very early modules, we'd like you to be off scripts, because we don't want you to have a piece of paper in front of you when working with someone. We want you to be able to sit down, chat with the client, listen to what they have to say, and know exactly what to do without needing to get out a book and look at the index and look up, oh yeah, page 17, anxiety, reading the script. Okay, it's okay. It's brilliant for many, many people. It's just not what we do. We prefer to go a little bit deeper, a little more bespoke, a little more customized, which leads us on to the next part. Because a slightly more advanced form of hypnotherapy is regression therapy. And this is where you take the client back in time, back to the source of a problem. And there's many different ways of doing this, but if someone has been through some kind of traumatic experience, could be in childhood, could be in teenagers, could be any point in their life, and the ideas from that experience have stuck in their mind, then regression therapy can be an incredibly fast way to get to the root cause of the problem, release the suppressed ideas, release the suppressed emotions around that, and the person can have very dramatic transformations very, very quickly. Nowadays, for some reason, people don't think this is very cool, don't think this is very trendy to do this. I've been in this business over 30 years now, and whenever something new comes out, I always try it. And rarely do any of these new, trendy, modern ideas actually make a difference, more powerful than stuff I've already been learning and tweaking myself. So I try these things, but there are some time-honored principles that just work. So regression therapy is an incredible tool for undoing lifelong problems very, very quickly. Now, when you combine regression therapy with clinical hypnosis, you get this amazing tool, because you can take someone back to the root cause of a problem, release it, and then when you use like more suggestion therapy, then their security system has changed. It's like the bouncer on the nightclub has said, oh yeah, you couldn't come in last night, but actually now you can come in tonight, so come on in. We'll clear out all the people we don't want, and we'll let you guys in. So you can learn to combine these two tools, these methods, with incredible effect. And that's what I learned to do, and that's what we teach you how to do as part of these training courses. Now those tools, understanding the mind, inducing hypnosis, learning how to do scripts and suggestion, and possibly learning how to do regression therapy, those are the basis of the better hypnotherapy training, shall we say. But I always like to go one step further, or maybe 10 steps further if I can. So over the thousands and thousands of hours of working with clients, and also on myself, healing my own stuff and sorting my own stuff out, I've also developed some techniques that will rapidly amplify the results you get from either suggestion therapy or regression therapy. And one of the most amazing one of these, I kind of accidentally discovered it in a way, is what we call fluid questioning. Now, you won't find this anywhere else. If you go looking it up, you won't find it anywhere else, because it's unique to this training course. But what I learned to do was develop a questioning system that really helps the client solve their own problems. I was mentioning this earlier in one of the previous videos, but this is the thing that does it. So rather than you have to try and be clever, when you can just learn this questioning system, it will take the client on a little journey to the root cause of their problem and help them begin to have realizations and understandings that, in a way, cause them to solve their own problem. And that's incredibly powerful for the client and incredibly powerful for yourself as well, because it means you don't need to think about all these clever words and phrases and techniques that many people try and teach. You just need to understand a very simple questioning process, follow some principles, and it's this that will lead the client to the resolution of their problem. Now, when you apply this with kind of suggestion therapy, when you apply this with regression therapy, it dramatically speeds up the results you will get. Now, the next thing we teach, I actually cover in quite a lot of detail in my book, The Real You. I was asked to write this. Penguin Random House said to me, "We've heard great reports about the work you do. Could you turn it into a self-help book?" I thought, that's quite a challenge, but I'll have a go. So This book essentially is, first of all, it's a teaching manual at the beginning, and then the second part is a set of exercises, like 33 exercises, which in a way are designed to simulate what happens when I take a client on a little journey. So in this book, I talk about what I call the escape method. And this is what I discovered, that beyond regression, when you get down to the absolute core of a person, the core of a person, of who they are, there are just a handful of thoughts, feelings, fears, beliefs. And when you can learn to look out for those and trace those, it's like you can filter out all the noise, all the things people are saying. You can just get right down to the core of a person very, very quickly. If you want to read about it in my book, do have a look. There's lots of details on that in there. But on the training course, we teach you how to do that. We teach you how to take a person down through this little, what we call the U-flow, to the root cause of their problem and bring them out the other side. And we call that the escape method, because it really does help people to escape their limitations, feel lighter, feel freer, and in a way become the person they were born to be. Now, once you begin to understand all these different elements, we can put them together for you into what I call the deep transformation method, because it creates very deep and lasting transformations, often very quickly. And by that, I mean sometimes just an hour or so of treatment. We can't always guarantee that, but sometimes an hour, 2 hours, you can help someone resolve a lifelong issue that they've maybe been struggling with or been in therapy with for years. So many times I get people say, I've tried psychotherapy, I've tried CBT, I've tried counseling, I've tried hypnotherapy, I've tried NLP, I've tried everything. Can you help me? If we can just follow this process and get to the bottom of their problem, often they can be liberated in just a few hours, which is an amazing thing to witness, an amazing feeling to take home with you at the end of the day. So we give you all the elements, we teach you the elements for that to bring it together into this deep transformation process. Now, once you've got all these elements and you understand how to create change in someone, then it's up to you how you design the session. Some people may prefer a much more coaching approach, some people prefer more counseling, some people like a more psychotherapy type approach, some people like a typical hypnotherapy. Myself, I would tend to dip in and out of all of them depending on what the client wants or needs. Some people teach you that there's a certain way of doing it, you have to do it this way, and every client you treat them the same, but that's not my way. If you're looking for that kind of very rigid academic way, that is not my way. My way has always been listen to the client, understand them, and then take the knowledge we have, connect it with the client, and find out how we can apply this knowledge to them in a way that is very useful to them. So there's a lot of questioning, understanding, and working with the client, almost like a coaching or counseling type session first of all, and then switching over to hypnotherapy and psychotherapy in hypnosis as the session goes on. So it doesn't need to be all about hypnotherapy. The aim is about how do you help a client feel better? How do you help them change how they think, change how they feel, change how they behave so their life is better in some way? Okay? So we may use a different mixture of approaches here, but we're combining the principles and techniques in the background, but just applying them in a way that is most beneficial to the client at that moment in their life. And that's what we also chat through with you, how to learn to do that. Now, on top of all that, we also give you some specialist topic modules to really fine-tune your learning and help you advance or elevate your skills. You don't need to know all of this in one go. If you can learn the basics, learn the foundation first of all, and then all this extra stuff is there for when you want it, when you need it, when you're ready to learn some more. But as part of the basic training, the standard course, we do teach you this stuff so you know it's available. One of the first things we teach you is about inner child therapy and parts therapy. These are two standard psychotherapy, psychological techniques, work beautifully when you combine it with a hypnotherapy session. So we take you through that, we teach you how to do that, and show you how to be able to do that to others. We also discuss the topic of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You can spend thousands of pounds in weeks, months, or years studying NLP. What we've done here is I've taken all the bits that I found useful over the years, we've pulled them in and condensed them into a very highly specialized topic around NLP. Numerous members of my students have been on, what should we say, the very expensive masterclass days of some of the world leaders of NLP. And they said they learned more from a day in the classroom with me and one of my teachers than they did on these other courses. A skill I think I have is I can take complex subjects from other areas, condense them down and make them very, very simple. And that's what I did with NLP. I just took all the bits. I thought, well, that's good. That. Here's what I think is useful. And that's what we teach you. So we give you a good understanding of NLP and some great techniques you can use, either as a standalone therapy technique or combining it with some of the other procedures we share with you. Mention hypnosis, hypnotherapy. People often say, oh, do you help people stop smoking? I say, yeah, I do that. Okay. But when you can help someone break a habit like smoking, it's incredibly powerful. There are people I helped stop smoking 10, 15 years ago who are still sending clients to me, not for stopping smoking, but for all sorts of things. So when you can help someone break a habit like smoking, for example, but the same thing applies to any kind of habit, drinking or hair pulling or something where people are doing something that they find difficult to stop. When you can do that and help someone break those kind of patterns, you have an incredible ability to transform people's lives, and the memory of that stays with people for years and years after. So we teach how to do what I call a complete stop smoking package. Usually the aim there is to help someone stop smoking in one session, and the session lasts between 1 to 2 hours, but it took me a long time to figure this out, a long time of experimenting to get this right, and we go through this in detail with you, but that's part of this training course, the complete stop smoking package. We also have people work with weight loss clients. Weight loss is obviously an area that affects so many people. There's so many people spending vast amounts of money on trying to control their eating, trying to control their diet, trying to exercise, do this, do that. And it's incredibly stressful for so many people. And what we show you, what we teach you is a very simple but highly effective way of helping people either manage their eating or get to the bottom of emotional causes of their eating, or maybe combine the two, so that you can implement an extremely effective weight loss or weight management or weight loss plan for people that is really conducive to them feeling better about themselves, but without promising any kind of crash diet or short-term results that will fall apart later on. We're looking for long-term sustainable results there, and that's what we teach you in our weight loss plan. Of course, it's not only adults that suffer problems, as I mentioned earlier, children, teenagers go through stuff as well. So we have a section in the course dedicated to teaching you how to work with children and teenagers, because that is such an amazing area where so many people need some help. And if you have an interest in that, it'd be a great area to focus on. The next one of the specialist modules we take you through is pain relief and mind-body connections. There are numerous studies into how hypnotherapy helps with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, for example, and when you can help someone ease any kind of physical pain, back pain, shoulder pain, sports injury pain, pain that sometimes they call it functional pain. There's no obviously medical cause for it, but it's just someone suffering there in some way. So there's a good chance it's psychological. They don't mean they're inventing it. It just means there's a psychological cause creating a physical symptom, and change a person's psychology around it. Then you can greatly reduce many people's suffering. And we take you through that in detail on our pain relief module. Now, we also dip our toe into the world of metaphysical hypnosis, things like past life regression. Now, it doesn't matter whether you believe in that or not, because if you're chatting with a client and you got them relaxed in hypnosis, you ask them a question and they suddenly start talking in a strange way or describing things that you think, hang on, this does not sound like normal life here. You need to know how to deal with it. Okay, it doesn't matter what you believe about it. If a client suddenly starts behaving that way, you need to know how to manage it, and that's why I include it in the course. Our aim is to teach you how to be ready to deal with whatever client comes through your door and whatever may happen in those sessions. And from my experience, this is part of it. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen now and again where a client will just throw a curveball your way and you need to be ready to deal with it. Of course, we also talk about the topic of self-hypnosis. People say, can you hypnotize yourself? And look, we're hypnotizing ourselves all day long, right? Every time we're talking to ourselves and saying something unchallenged, that in a way is a form of self-hypnosis. But we can do it in a better way, a more structured way, a more formal way, where we can begin to focus our ideas to serve ourselves in some way. And when you can teach your clients to do that, it gives them something to do in between sessions. So we teach self-hypnosis, we teach the basic self-hypnosis, and we also teach what I feel is a much more effective one. It's like if you could take CBT, combine it with the magic of some of those techniques I was describing earlier, mix that with self-hypnosis, and you get this incredible tool for personal transformation. And we do take you through that as part of the course. Another specialist topic is what I call the metamorphosis technique. And what I realize is many people will describe their problems in metaphors. I'm floating at sea. I'm lost in the dark. Right? They use metaphors, imagery. So when a client uses those naturally and you don't know how to interact with them, there's going to be a mismatch in your communication. So I developed a process called the metamorphosis technique, which is really brilliant at helping to connect with people in that way. And in a way, it helps them go down, what we call it 3 levels deep within the client to get to the bottom of their issues using metaphors. And when you know how to do that, if a client suddenly starts talking in metaphors to you, you know exactly how to help them. And it's another example of how you can feel incredibly prepared to deal with whoever comes your way. Now, I hope you're beginning to realize why many people have described our training courses here as being the most incredible value for money of any training courses available. But there's more, because besides the content of the course itself, besides the different training formats we offer, it's also important to understand the support available to you. That's the person bit, the people bit that goes around the whole training. So I want to just go through some of the features that we provide to you and the incredible benefits they can offer you as you go through your training and beyond. So the first thing we provide is a VIP Facebook group, a very private VIP Facebook group. We have a couple of these or 2 or 3 of these depending on which level you're at. When you first join one of our trainings, you join the general beginners and support group, and that's where you can ask all the beginner kind of questions and not feel like you're asking a stupid question to someone who's got loads of experience. There are only stupid questions, as you know, but people sometimes are a little bit shy about asking. So we have a private support group just for beginners, first of all, when you get started. But we also give you access to the more advanced students and the practitioners Facebook group, so you can see what people further along the line from you are doing and the kind of questions they're asking. These are people who are probably nearer finishing their training or have been in practice for a year, 2 years, or many years or so. And we have a very lovely, supportive, very kind, and very generous body of practitioners there who are always willing to share experience and share advice. So if you ever need a quick answer to a question, you can log into the Facebook group, just ask a question, and somebody will be there willing to help you out in some way or other. And on top of that, when you join one of our courses, we also give you 1 year's one-to-one mentoring. Every month you get a half-hour one-to-one mentoring session with our student mentor. And this is a chance to just chat through where you're at, make sure you're getting on okay, ask any questions that you may have in a private setting, maybe help you with any kind of coursework or the certification side of it, or just whatever you need or whatever you want in that moment to help you feel incredibly supported. And that's a whole year. So once a month for a whole year, we give you that. On top of that, in the members area, in our online members area, we have over 70 webinars on specialist topics. And these have been recorded in the whole years I've been running online training. You've got a client coming for a specific thing and you're thinking you just want a quick recap, a quick refresher, or you'd like to know maybe those extra details and just how do you help someone? It's someone with nail biting, what do you do? Someone who's been through a sexual trauma, what do you do? Someone who's been through maybe an eating disorder issue, what do you do? And these webinars are dedicated, normally between 45 minutes to an hour or so, dedicated just to those topics. It's usually me presenting some kind of slides in some way, people asking questions, and you can watch those and really deepen your level of skills, deepen your level of knowledge anytime you want to. And there are over 70 of those included, and we're adding to them at regular intervals as we go. We also have our client demo library. This is where you'll see me and sometimes other people doing complete client sessions from beginning to end, usually with no knowledge of what the client is coming for. They're completely raw, completely as it happens. And there's over 40 hours of those for you to watch. So you can really understand what it's like to put these principles we're teaching into practice and take the theory into a practical situation. And many students have told me they learn so much just watching those because they can see me asking the questions and taking that person on that journey right in front of their eyes, and they can press pause and they can think, well, what would I say here? What do I do next? And do they do the same as me? Would they do something different? This beautiful library we have of people going through these personal transformations right in front of your eyes is incredibly valuable. It's priceless in a way. Many people have said watching those is like better than watching TV. You'll have to make your own mind up about that. But we have them for you there to deepen your learning and support you. On top of that, we want to help you with the business side as well. And we're always upgrading this because business and marketing and advertising platforms tend to change every 6 months or every year or so. So we have to try, we do our best to try and keep up to date with that. But one thing we do give you is access to a program I made many years ago called Successful Private Practice. Okay, when I used to run my own clinic in Greenwich many years ago, we had over 60 different practitioners come through the door, and I noticed certain patterns about them. So I recorded a 12-part audio program on everything I learned from myself, setting up a business, setting up a practice, and everything I learned from watching these 60 different people coming through our doors, coming and going. What made it successful for some and not for others? Okay. And we give you access to that Successful Private Practice audio program and the workbook that goes with it. It's all online, all available to you as part of this training course. So you can really deepen your skills about how to get clients and get your mindset around building a business there if that's what you want to do. We also want to help you feel you have the confidence to do this and the belief in yourself. One of the biggest challenges people have going through this is, can I do this? Am I good enough to do this? Right? And they worry about not being sorted out enough or still having issues. And I can absolutely guarantee that as long as you have a genuine desire to help someone and a genuine desire to put some effort in, then you can learn how to help people. And as you learn how to help people, it will teach you and you'll learn how to help yourself as well. But this program we have put together for you called Transform Your Life is a 6-part program I did online some years ago now that was designed to help you identify areas of struggle and stress in your life and help you get to the bottom of it and really kind of turn things around in a self-help kind of way. And you get access to the whole program just for being one of our students. So as I said, I hope you can begin to see the value now here, because if you went and studied many of these things separately, they would add up into tens of thousands of pounds, quite literally. But everything we give you now is designed to help you feel able to say yes. If somebody says to you, can you help me? And you know exactly what to do, you know exactly how to help them. If this is interesting to you and you found this interesting and you think this is the right way forward for you, we'd love to have a chat with you. So somewhere down below, somewhere on this page, there's going to be a link to a little mini survey. It only takes a couple of minutes to fill it in, and we can have a chat with you. We can find out where you're at, what you're trying to do, maybe what your dreams are, what your goals are, and we can see how practical it is for you to do that, what you might need to do, what the best way forward is, and really design a plan of how you can move forward. So I hope you found all this useful. If you've got any questions, please just ask. But if you have a genuine desire to help people and a genuine desire to put the work in, we'd love to hear from you. And the first step is just click that button below and answer a few questions. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you and meeting you one day.